Before someone chooses you, they often disappear. Before they commit, they often retreat. What looks like rejection is usually transformation, because sometimes a heart pulls back right before it steps forward forever. Before a person chooses marriage, before they decide to build a life with you, before they step into devotion, before they claim you publicly, they almost always pull back. Not because they don't love you, not because they're uncertain about you, but because choosing a lifelong connection forces them to confront their deepest fears, insecurities, and unhealed patterns. When a heart senses something real, something long-term, something sacred, it doesn't rush forward blindly. It pauses. It retreats into itself, not to run from you, but to understand the weight of the decision in front of it. What feels like distance is often preparation. What feels like silence is often inner rebuilding. What feels like loss is often the moment right before the breakthrough. When your specific person pulls back, you panic because you see it as an ending. But spiritually, it is usually the moment the universe begins rearranging things. Love that is meant to last cannot be chosen casually. It must be chosen from maturity, clarity, and inner alignment. Your person is not pulling back to escape you. They are pulling back to face the version of themselves they must outgrow. They are standing at the edge of transformation, wrestling with the fear of stepping into a future bigger than anything they've lived before. Commitment is not a small decision. It demands vulnerability, responsibility, emotional stability, and a willingness to evolve. And when someone realizes they are about to choose a destiny instead of a moment, the soul naturally hesitates. People pull back because commitment shakes their identity. It makes them ask questions they've never asked before. Am I ready for forever? Am I enough? Can I be consistent? Can I protect this love? Do I deserve this person? These are not questions rooted in doubt about you. They are reflections of the battles happening inside them. When they pull back, they are not rejecting the relationship. They are trying to find the version of themselves capable of carrying it. They are reorganizing their heart. They are renegotiating their fears. They are confronting their shadows. And this process often happens alone, quietly, internally, without explanation. Silence becomes their cocoon, not their escape. Your specific person also pulls back, because deep love requires surrender. And surrender is terrifying for someone who has built their identity around control, independence, or emotional caution. The closer they feel to you, the more exposed they feel. The more they imagine a future with you, the more vulnerable they become. When love starts to feel real, the heart instinctively steps backward to evaluate whether it is safe enough to step forward again. This is not emotional immaturity. It is emotional protection. Everyone has lived through heartbreak, disappointment, or betrayal that taught them to be cautious with their soul. So when they feel the intensity of what you bring, their heart panics. It says, slow down. This is real. Don't mess this up. Sometimes pulling back is actually their way of grounding themselves. They want space to understand their emotions clearly, rather than reacting impulsively. They want to ensure that the connection they feel is genuine, stable, and aligned. Not just passion, not just excitement, not just temporary affection. They need clarity. And clarity rarely comes when emotions are overwhelming. So they retreat into their inner world, not to disconnect from you, but to reconnect with themselves. This solitude is not rejection, it is recalibration. Your specific person also pulls back because they feel your expectations. They sense the pressure, the intensity, the desire you hold, the future you imagine, the urgency you project. Even if you say nothing, the heart communicates energetically. And sometimes that energy becomes overwhelming. Not because your love is too much, but because they haven't yet become someone who feels worthy of receiving it. They are afraid they will disappoint you, fail you, or fall short of the partner they believe you deserve. So they distance themselves, not because they want to lose you, but because they fear hurting you. There are moments in every destined relationship when one heart needs to breathe on its own before it can breathe with another. The pullback is their healing process. It is their emotional reset. It is their preparation for the stability marriage requires. You cannot build a lifelong union from a wounded spirit. The soul must be strong enough to carry responsibility without resentment, without fear, without emotional chaos. Their retreat is creating the inner strength they need to step into the commitment you desire. When they step back, it is also a test of your energy, not a test designed to hurt you, but a test designed to refine the emotional space between you. The universe asks, will you cling or will you trust? Will you panic or will you stay aligned? Will you chase or will you remain centered? True marriage requires spiritual confidence. It requires emotional patience. It requires an inner knowing that does not collapse under temporary distance. If your love can survive the pullback, it becomes unbreakable in the union. This is why you must understand the spiritual dimension of love. What is meant for you is not slipping away. What is aligned with you cannot be taken from you. The pullback is not a sign of ending. It is a sign of alignment. It is the final internal battle before they step into the version of themselves who chooses you wholeheartedly. The transformation happening within them is sacred. They are shedding old fears, old beliefs, old identities that no longer serve the future they want to build with you. But while they pull back, you also have a role. Your role is not to chase, not to beg, not to pressure, not to spiral. Your role is to hold the energy of the relationship with confidence, to remain anchored in the spiritual truth that distance is not disconnection, to stay steady while they become the partner destiny requires. You must trust the invisible work happening beneath the surface. When you panic, you interrupt the process. When you cling, you push them deeper into retreat. But when you stay calm and grounded, the energy between you stabilizes, and that stability becomes the very thing that draws them back. Your person is not pulling back to abandon you. They are pulling back to choose you from a place of wholeness rather than fear. Their silence is not the end. It is a bridge being built. Their distance is not disinterest. It is transformation. Marriage demands evolution, and evolution often happens in isolation. They need this space not to forget you, but to prepare themselves for you. They are stepping into a commitment that is bigger than anything they've done before. And before a soul steps into something divine, it always pauses. When they return, and they will return if this is a spiritually aligned connection, they will come back clearer, stronger, more grounded, and more certain. They will not return the same. They will return ready to choose you with intention, ready to commit from stability, ready to step into a future they once feared. The pullback was never about losing you. It was about becoming the version of themselves worthy of marrying you. So breathe. Trust the process. Let the space strengthen you instead of frightening you. What is meant for you is preparing itself. What is aligned with you is evolving toward you. And sometimes the heart must step back before it steps forward forever. Your specific person pulls back because deep love activates fears they've never spoken aloud, stirring the wounds they've tried to bury. The intensity of what they feel for you awakens insecurities they never processed. They panic not because you're wrong for them, but because the connection feels too real. Real love exposes the parts of them they've kept hidden from everyone else. Instead of running from you, they are wrestling with themselves. They fear disappointing you, failing you, or not being the partner they believe you deserve. Their retreat is not rejection, it is self-protection. It is the heart trying to navigate overwhelming emotion. Their distance reflects the inner battle between fear and desire. And until that battle is quiet, they pause. But this pause is temporary, because love always wins once the storm inside them settles. Distance is their way of gaining clarity, not a sign that the connection is ending, because overwhelming emotions make it hard for them to think clearly. When someone feels the possibility of forever, their mind becomes loud with questions. They step back to understand what they truly want without the pressure of immediate decisions. This space helps them separate genuine feelings from momentary fears. In silence, they can hear their heart more clearly. They reflect on the relationship, the future, and the role they want to play in your life. They slow down to avoid mistakes made from emotional confusion. This clarity-building phase is essential before choosing a lifetime with someone. They are not moving away. They are zooming out to see the bigger picture. When clarity comes, they return with certainty instead of chaos. They retreat to confront the emotional patterns they must outgrow before choosing forever, because commitment forces them to examine themselves deeply. This connection exposes childhood wounds, trust issues, or past heartbreak that shape their behavior. Marriage requires maturity, emotional stability, and responsibility, qualities they must strengthen before stepping forward. Their stepping back is their soul trying to evolve. They reflect on who they've been and who they must become to build a stable future with you. They want to break cycles, not repeat them. This inner growth cannot happen in noise. It requires solitude and self-awareness. The pullback becomes their personal transformation zone. They are shedding old identities that cannot survive in the future they imagine with you. They want to rise into someone worthy of the love you offer. Pulling back is their attempt to protect you from the parts of themselves they haven't healed yet, because they know entering marriage with emotional wounds creates pain. They are aware of their flaws, fears, and unprocessed trauma. Even if they never admit it, they worry about hurting you unintentionally. They feel the weight of responsibility that comes with loving someone deeply. Their retreat is an act of caution, not abandonment. They want to keep you safe from the battles they are still fighting within themselves. They step back until they can bring you stability instead of chaos. This pause is their way of guarding the future connection from becoming damaged by their present struggles. They pull away now to protect the love they plan to build later. When love feels real, the heart pauses to understand the weight of commitment, because something inside them recognizes they are standing at a turning point. Real love is life-changing. It demands surrender, vulnerability, honesty, and emotional risk. When they feel that depth with you, they instinctively pull back to process the magnitude of what this relationship could become. They imagine a future with you, and that future feels enormous. They fear choosing wrong, moving too fast, or being unprepared for the level of devotion required. Their pause is not fear of you. It is fear of messing up something sacred. This moment is the heart taking a breath before taking a leap. They need to feel grounded before they step forward confidently. And once they understand the depth of their feelings, their next step becomes sure. The universe creates space, so both of you can grow into the version required for marriage, because destiny never rushes what it intends to last. This space is not emptiness. It is preparation. It is life giving both hearts room to evolve. You are growing in patience, trust, and emotional independence. They are growing in clarity, confidence, and responsibility. The distance sharpens your intuition and strengthens your self-worth. It strengthens their emotional intelligence and reveals their true priorities. During this pause, the energies between you recalibrate. You each shed old layers that cannot enter a divine union. The universe is aligning timelines, healing wounds, and arranging circumstances quietly. This space is sacred, even if it feels uncomfortable. It is making both of you ready for something bigger than uncertainty. Their silence is not rejection. It is transformation happening beneath the surface, because meaningful choices require inner change. Silence becomes their workshop for emotional restructuring. This is where they question their fears, challenge their limiting beliefs, and break away from the patterns that kept them from committing in the past. They are becoming someone who can love consistently, not conditionally. Someone who chooses with certainty, not confusion. Silence is the cocoon where their old self dissolves and their new self begins to form. They don't tell you because they don't know how to express these internal shifts, but their stillness is a sign of transition, not abandonment. When the transformation is complete, they emerge prepared, confident, and ready to step into the love they once feared. The silence was the bridge, not the ending.